Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 17th day of September. Got the Mad New Yorker backstage. Or not Mad New Yorker. In 30 minutes past the hour, I'll have Coach Kevin Carroll come on the program. I got my days mixed up here. I got a great show with you for tonight. Going to be talking about Dabo Swinney getting frustrated again at Clemson. Totally wrong. That was my national championship pick. Dabo's not making it happen. But anyways, going to talk about that. Florida looks like I was a year off on Billy Napier. Thought that maybe sorry about that. Something came up on my thing. Thought that maybe that Lagway would save his job, and it's just a matter of time with him and whatnot. So we'll talk about that. Of course, talk about Tennessee, Georgia. That was the biggest game last week with Coach Kevin Carroll here, favorite. Ask him about the Titans. What does he think about Brian Callahan? What does he think about Cam Ward and whatnot? So stand by. We'll take our first and only break. I'll be back here momentarily, and we will hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty, then I'm back here live. Okay, now, Clemson, big upset. Like I said this coming into the sorry about that, folks. Looks like my thing is off just a little bit. Now it looks like it's better. Okay, like I said at the beginning of the season, and it's very difficult to get a gauge on this NIL, this transfer portal versus teams that have built organically, and they've got a lot of starters coming back. They've got 17, 18 out of 22 juniors and seniors. It's hard to gauge that now. Some teams do get a lot of transfers and they don't work out. Other teams get the right transfers and they end up winning a national championship. For example, Ohio State's $20 million NIL. LSU led the league here, NIL $20.5 million this year. And look at them. They may be the very best team in the country here. So, anyways, Clemson was my national championship pick already. Looks like they're not even going to get to the playoffs with 2 out of losses, losing to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, not a bad team. This is one of their better years of their existence. But Dabo Swinney, I looked up how much NIL. They're 10th in NIL in the country in NIL spending. So it's not like they're not spending money on NIL. They just recently, and this is why I picked them, plus the emergence of Cade Klubnik last year, at the end of last year, but they recently had some transfers there. They didn't have enough, but they lost a 3-point game. A 3-point game is a 3-point game. They lost an early lead to LSU in the second half at week 1, and now they're 1-2 in a very tough ACC division. Really irking, highly well compensated, huge buyout. Dabo Swinney. Listen to what he had to say after the loss of Georgia Tech. I want to say this was probably this was either after the game or earlier this week. I want to say it was early this week because this is when I actually saw it on my feed here on the X app. Listen up.
And hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they can send me on my way, but I'm going to go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all going to have to deal with me for a while. I got a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach. I'm just now figuring it out. So we'll be around a while.
You know, I really like Dabo Swinney. I'm sure he's got some heat there. I don't want to use the word upsetting. I said underwhelming season last year. They did. This year was supposed to be that big comeback breakout year where they can get back on track. They found a way into the playoff last year, even though they had a rough start. Remember, they were blown out at the beginning of the season last year by Georgia, and it simply did not work out for them. So the guy's been there 17 years, 2 national championships. Clemson was never really good in my lifetime. I know they were good before I was born, but they never really – I mean, he built them from nothing, if you ask me. Through that 17 years, you've got Deshaun Watson, you've got Trevor Lawrence, you've got DeAndre Hopkins. Just player after player after player come out of Clemson. If you're a Clemson fan, you really cannot take that away. He's got this massive contract, $60 million buyout. It's a little bit more than that if he goes to Alabama. That was because of the Nick Saban stuff. Now, next year, that will drop down to $4 million, okay? Pending on how this year plays out for the 55-year-old coach. I said this a few years ago. People thought I was crazy. I'm going to say it again now. I think because he is eerily irked by this NIL stuff. You say, well, he's a college guy, blah, blah, blah. If the right situation presented itself, and I wouldn't have said this, say, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, but 4 or 5 years ago, yes, I did say it. People laughed at me. But now, with the way everything is, he still likes to go out and coach. I think he would listen to an NFL job. If he had an opportunity, like a Jim Harbaugh, to go coach a Justin Herbert, I think he would probably take that job. For example, if, say, Titans keep Brian Callahan one more year, and you're in year 2, Tennessee still 6-11. They fire Callahan. Team looks like they're on the verge. They still got I'm just using Tennessee as an example. Somebody could get a really good quarterback, and they can coach that team in the NFL. But anyways, if he went to an ideal situation where you still had a quarterback, emerging quarterback, and a roster on the come up, like a Cam Ward, say going into year 3, you still got him on that rookie contract for 2 more years. I think he would listen to an offer by a Tennessee if he likes what he sees out of Cam Ward, per se. Or if a team gets the number 1 pick and he's high on the quarterback, kind of like Urban Meyer. Although it didn't work out for Urban Meyer, I don't think he's got the ego of an Urban Meyer, where he's going to talk to players the way Urban Meyer did in the NFL. I think it will be a little bit of a learning curve, but he did used to play receiver, and I think that he would go in with an approach about like a Dan Campbell, per se. He's a guy about he wears his faith on his sleeve. He don't really care what people think of him. He's very sincere with his players. All that is Dan Campbell, except for the faith. I don't know if that. But that is more of a Dan Campbell up at Detroit type of situation. Now, I understand a lot of college coaches have not worked out. Steve Spurrier, technically Nick Saban didn't work out as a head coach in the NFL, but he was a coordinator in the NFL. And I still think that if the right opportunity come with him, he would also take a shot at the NFL, another shot at the NFL. I think he enjoyed it. He just didn't have his quarterback. We talked about that with Nick Saban before, where If the Dolphins would have okayed Drew Brees to come there and they not have to deal with the injury of Culpepper, then history is different now. I don't think New England wins all those Super Bowls. I think they could potentially win a Super Bowl, maybe two, with Drew Brees and Nick Saban. I think Nick Saban's a very good coach like that. So it'd have to be the right situation. But I do think he's getting a little lost. And they did fire him, I think he wouldn't be out of a job long. Sometimes things just don't work out. Things get stale at universities. Bill Walsh, former great coach, I've told this a million times. I'll tell you until you be the one. I'm getting some new followers that the former 49ers coach at Coach Montana come up with that West Coast offense, said that he don't like to be anywhere over 10 years. He was talking about mainly pro sports, but you could make the same you can make the same comparison to college. Now, college, you have a rotation of players, but you're also dealing with the same boosters for years. You're dealing with the same AD. If you're not dealing with the same AD, it means you're probably not doing good in major college football. So it's a lot to think about. Let's see how this rest of the season plays out. They could run the table and still possibly get into the playoffs. I don't think they will. But we'll see. We'll see. That's my thoughts on him. Other major development there in college. Another one I said that I was about a year off on was Billy Napier, Florida coach. Their schedule was so rough last year. I was for sure that he was going to get fired. And this year, Deion Sanders would be the head coach. Now, neither happened. Deion Sanders actually stayed at Colorado. DJ Lagway comes in as a true freshman, and he comes in the first game of the season because of injury. Quarterback still looks like a true freshman most of the season. Had some good spots there, here and there. Almost beat Tennessee. Tennessee made the playoff last year, and they did beat LSU and Ole Miss last year. And they looked to be really well. They were a potential dark horse to get into the playoffs this year. I had in the preseason, looking at Lagway and the way he played at the end of the year last year. But now they lost to South Florida, and then they lose to LSU, and they've got Miami this weekend, and they're 7.5-point underdogs to Miami. So it just don't look good at anywhere for this particular team. It's not if, it's when at this point. I'm not sure if I would fire him in the middle of the season, not unless I'd already spoken to a coach and already had an agreement in some kind of writing or whatnot. If you had the trust of a coach and whatnot, like a Jimbo Fisher. I still think Jimbo Fisher can coach. I know he's a very good recruiter. He hung on too tight for that Texas A&M job. Remember, this guy did win a national championship in the state of Florida. He coached for Florida State. I still think he can coach. I still think this team got a good, decent defense. I still think they can also recruit well. Their NIL budget isn't great, but it's not terrible. I want to say it's in the top 15. They're still a great location. And I still think Lagway was out of shape. He came in out of shape this year. And that's very disappointing because I was really high on the guy. But Florida, if you had a Fisher in play there already, because my thing is you don't want to get they got some good players. You don't want to just see a flood of transfers, including Lagway. That's the main reason they kept him this year, because they went on and beat, at the time, they beat a ranked LSU team and a ranked Ole Miss team to end the season there. And, of course, Florida State was down like crazy last year, but it was against a rival opponent there, okay? And that's the only thing to save the guy's job. Now, this is Lagway, like I said, Lagway's out of shape. He's not in top-notch shape. And Florida is probably going to move on at some point. But like I said, if you just want to do the big massive search, I would wait towards the end of the season to do that and get a hold of all the players and not try to lose the players that you've got. And just get the best coach available. Take your time and do it that way. Not unless you had like a big time guy. And I do think that Jimbo Fisher is still hungry to get out there and get coaching. Okay. All right. And it'd be odd if Clemson did pay that $60 million buyout, which I don't think they will. And then, you get a Dabo Swinney come available, then boom. But of course, Georgia Tech, their head coach, that guy may be a guy I would interview from what he's done at Georgia Tech already. They're playing pretty well. A lot of people looked at them as a dark horse there. I think it was Kirk Herbstreit really talked them up in the offseason, and they're in the top 25 again, and they're not known necessarily as a college football powerhouse. Okay. A few thoughts about the game, the biggest game. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, and this is, let me add this in, insult to injury. That's why I got to, not go too far off my notes. They end up suspended one of their assistant coaches here for involvement in a pregame scuffle. You're the coach, man. What are you doing? What are you doing there? Assistant coach here of Florida. This was, and I saw this, and a lot of you probably did. There was a pregame scuffle. Sometimes the players get too close to each other, and some pushing and shoving, and sometimes there's fights before the game between LSU and Florida. This time that situation happened, and apparently he slapped one of the LSU players. I haven't seen the film on it, but he got suspended, I want to say 3 games or whatnot, for doing that. This is an assistant coach. Well, hey, look, that call comes down on Billy Napier. Everything has a whole lot more weight to it when you're losing. Now, if they'd have won both games and they're dominating, playing well, it's not really a story. Probably still gets suspended, but nobody pays it any mind. Look at all the trouble that those players got in when Urban Meyer was down there. Forget about the Aaron Hernandez. I'm talking about DUIs, bar fights. Guys in trouble all the time you're reading about. One guy got in trouble before the, I think it was Carlos Dunlap, if I'm not mistaken, from the SEC championship game. We'll say he gets suspended there. So, anywho, so he's as good as gone as far as I'm concerned. I was a year off on Napier. Still think it's a good job there. Good recruiting area there in the middle of Florida. I understand that the rules have changed a little bit. It's really about how much NIL money you can get, how much of a staff can you put around you, how much can you leverage that to get the right transfer, not just any transfer, but get the right transfers. I'm still not going to rule this team out, as far as a program and whatnot. But anywho, just a quick take on Tennessee. Georgia, thought Georgia really took a big punch there at the beginning of the game. Looked like Tennessee was going to run off with this thing. You could see Georgia's depth started to take over as the game went along with all the substitutions of players. Tennessee started to wear down, that they did not roll over. You could see Tennessee catch their second wind and come in there, play well. And I've got Kevin Carroll, I'm going to bring on here in just a minute here. And it just looks like the Tennessee is Josh Heupel has figured out a way to close that talent gap enough where Tennessee actually seems competitive with Georgia. They've lost every game since 2016 to Georgia. You go back a few coaches ago, we're talking about Jeremy Pruitt, Butch Jones, Derek Dooley. I know Lane Kiffin was before that, after Lane Kiffin left out on Tennessee in the middle of the night for the USC job, there was a period there I just felt like Tennessee wasn't going to be a great program anymore. I thought they was just going to be a mediocre program. They felt like at times that they were light years behind Alabama, Florida, and then Georgia gets Kirby Smart, and there's just more separation there. And Josh Heupel, who I was not a fan of, that he worked, I think he came from South Florida or whatever, Central Florida. It doesn't make any, never mind, but with his AD there. And I thought that was just like, hey, I'm just hired a guy I know. Let's not do a major coaching search. Lost a lot of respect. And, of course, hey, proved me wrong, man. He's proved me wrong and really done a lot there. But on that note, I've got a guy that almost nailed the score here, Coach Carroll, Kevin Carroll, here on the program, one of the fan favorites here to talk Tennessee and Titans football here. Let me get – what's your thoughts about Saturday's game, man? You almost nailed it.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother.
All right, yeah, my headphones messed up, so I'm kind of going off the camera mic. So
okay.
I think what cost them the game, honestly, is the fact that they're two maybe the best corner tandem in college football was injured, and I think that come back to bite them in the end. But at the same time, man, I was really encouraged. I mean, it sucked at the time. I looked at my wife and told her, I said, I'd rather get blown out than lose a game like that. It just hurts a lot.
It's so frustrating, ain't it? Yeah.
But when that kid come up for that field goal at the end, I'd never been so unconfident about a kick in my
He had that deer in headlight look, didn't he?
He looked like a 12-year-old kid. I'm sitting here like,
it's
this ain't going to be good. But, I mean, nothing against him. He come back and nailed the same kick in overtime. I mean, we can do it. And that's probably a good experience for him. But, the game, they just could not get off the field, on third down. And that was the biggest thing about it right there. I was very happy with Joey Aguilar. I thought he's been running that offense the way it's supposed to be run the entire season. He's not as talented as Nico, but when he runs the offense better than Nico did,
Yes.
I mean, that's
Are you surprised at the level of efficiency that Aguilar's running this offense? I mean, he definitely runs it better than Nico, but not to this level of efficiency.
Personally, I had this hunch. I was thinking, what if he comes in there and he just I'd never said it out loud because I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But I know
because he played at App State, and remember they had a big upset against Texas A&M.
I know Appalachian State runs a similar offense, so everybody's making a big deal about, he's coming in after spring, and he's missing all this time, and I'm like, he's already familiar with this offense to an extent. So it's probably not going to take him as long to come in and pick it up because what they did there, they ran a tempo offense as well, and it was similar, in design. It's not exactly the same, but I think it was enough the same to where he didn't have a problem picking it up. He probably more or less just had to learn the terminology more than anything. And he come in and I saw him at first game, and I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be able to run this offense. And when we played a good team like last year, we ran up the score on teams, before we got to a good opponent. And then when we got to a halfway decent opponent, the score went down and we wasn't moving the ball. Well, this year we got to a good opponent and he was still running the offense just as good. So,
Are you surprised they got off to that kind of lead in the first? That really took me by shock. Against Georgia.
That's kind of what I was expecting. I was expecting them to come out fast and get a lead and then hold on. And they almost did that, but they wasn't quite able to do it. But, I'm encouraged moving forward. I like our chances against anybody they play, if I'm being honest. I do feel like they need to get McCoy and Gibson back before they play Alabama, and they're going to need them against Oklahoma as well. But anybody else on the schedule, I like their chances, as they are now to win those games. But I do think they need those guys for those specific games, especially. But
Yeah.
I'm encouraged. I think they can play with and beat just pretty much anybody on their schedule. Not saying they will, but they can play with anybody.
Yeah. I mean, you were behind backstage, man. I brought you in. Going back about 15 years, through all those coaches I just named, Butch Jones, Derek Dooley, Jeremy Pruitt. As a follower of this organization, did you start to see, like I get a kind of a sense that maybe they're just never going to get back to that late 90s, early 2000s Tennessee, that this is just who they are. They're going to be a mediocre to slightly above mediocre team, that those other programs, Georgia, Florida, and Alabama, has simply just they're just on another level, and we're never going to get back there. Did you ever have those thoughts coming into the Josh Heupel hiring?
I didn't think it would be never. I just was kind of like I got to a point there to where I'm like, okay, no more expectations. I'm just gonna support them, and then when
Yeah.
they give me something to get excited about, then I'll get excited because it was. I mean, I thought I was gonna give myself a heart attack before I was 45 years old. So I was like, I need to dial it back a little bit, and I did that, and I just supported them. And then like when Heupel come in, I mean, I was like, he may not have been the guy I would have hired, but I also had the mindset of, I'm going to see I'm not going to judge him until I see what he does, and then that first year, they only won 7 games, but I saw a whole lot of improvement, and I was like, okay, it's something we can build off of. And what allows us to compete against Georgia and Alabama and those teams now is that they are developing them. And I want you to remember back in the spring when I told you this, I said they have recruited really well, and on paper they should have a better receiving core moving forward because these guys are more talented guys. And I said we're going to need 1 or 2 of these younger guys to step up and show that. But I believe we have had 2 or 3 guys step up and show that. Brazel has definitely taken a big step forward, but then we got Staley, and then we got Mike Matthews. Both are contributing, and that's what I expected. As long as they got a guy who is able to distribute, unlike Nico seemed to be able to do at times, which was crazy because he had the skill set to do it. Just for some reason, it just never did come to fruition. I have no idea what happened with it because he had the perfect skill set to run that offense. And it just never clicked for whatever reason that was. But, hey, it's clicking with Aguilar, so we're going to run with that.
Hey, man, it turned out to be the whole thing turned out to be a huge blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
I actually feel bad for Nico now. I mean, the coach got fired already.
I do too. And he's last week he was talking about he was stepping away from football.
Man.
Because his heart's not in it or whatever. And now that his coach is fired, now he's talking about transferring somewhere. And I blame the whole situation in the spring on his dad. I don't even think he's the one that said that the offense isn't helping him get ready for the NFL. I think his dad made that call. I think he could have run the offense good. I still believe that. I still believe he could have run the offense good. I don't know if he could have run it as good as Aguilar's running it, but and then the whole deal at UCLA, it's just killing his NFL stock now because now it looks like that he can't handle adversity. Like
right,
step away, but now
oh no, looks like coach is fading out a little bit. Can you hear me, man?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a lag there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah.
Internet
it's all good, brother. It's all good. My biggest thing, and I think we talked about this before, and Urban Meyer said this about Oregon when they came to the Big Ten, that he had noticed that Oregon, who ran a real fast-paced offense in the Pac-12 back in the day, they've gotten bigger. They've gotten bigger on their front lines. They can run the ball more now. They're more physical on the defensive line. I just think Tennessee's got to get just a little bit more physical. We need a John Henderson back. We need a Albert Hainsworth type of players. That's all they really need. Just a little thicker in the middle on the defensive side. They win that game, and it doesn't come down to a field goal kick.
Yeah, they have actually 2 or 3 D linemen that got hurt the first game, and I'm not even sure if they're back or not. I don't think they're back yet. So they were playing short both on the defensive line and in the secondary. But at the same time, you got to give I can't say his name at the moment, but the freshman DB that come in and played, he did okay. He did okay, but it was still somewhat of a liability because we kept getting pass interference calls.
Yeah.
And, especially the one that was like way overthrown and they threw it anyway. And then the genius analyst said, "Oh, but he took away his opportunity." Yeah, we took away his opportunity to turn into Superman and jump up there and grab that ball. I mean, come on. That
they can be kind of smart, but that makes me more impressed with Tennessee.
Yeah.
They had linebacker injuries too, Kevin, before that game started.
Yeah, they played good considering what they had. I think they were ready on offense to win that game. On defense, they just was not healthy. They were, pretty injured going in, and I do believe that affected them a lot because I don't think Georgia would have ran the ball as effectively as they did had they had everything in place. But you can't what ifs. That's just how it goes. And they still very much could get in the playoffs. I mean, in our reality, we just need to split between Oklahoma and Alabama. I don't believe Florida's going to be a problem. I think Aguilar goes into Gainesville and has no problem. I think
Speaking of Florida, a couple years ago, I said that this is his last year would be his last year.
I thought last year was going to be his last year too.
But what is this guy's name? Napier. Now it looks like Lagway came in out of shape. They lost to South Florida. They lost to LSU. The assistant coach got suspended. Did you hear about that? He was in the middle of a what do you call it? Dust up, a scuffle with LSU. He's up there slapping LSU players. He's been suspended for 3 games. Wow. And then they've got Miami this week. They're not going to beat Miami.
They're not beating Miami. Look, I told you last year, I said I'm not big on Florida. I think Napier staying with the team, I said it was a mistake. I still believe that.
Lagway saved his job at the end. Remember, they went on a winning streak.
Yeah, and it's not saying he's like a bad coach or anything. I just don't think this situation is going to work out for him.
It's too big for him.
Yeah, and Lagway, I said as well, I wasn't that big on Lagway. I mean,
man, I was big. They beat Ole Miss and LSU last year.
Yeah, they did. And I don't know where that came from, if I'm being honest, but I didn't think they were going to be able to carry all that over.
I think Lagway still may come back. I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to. I was like, they're going to fall on their face at some point, and they're going to lose at Miami. And what's it going to be? 3 losses right off the bat, there.
I think they still got to play Texas too.
Yeah.
Texas ain't doing great, but
Texas will probably beat them. I mean, they're probably going to have 4 or 5 losses. I think Tennessee's going to beat them. But
it's down in Gainesville. You know how that is.
Yep, I think Aguilar's going to be fine in Gainesville, and hopefully we got our defense intact by that time, especially our DBs, because Lagway can throw some. You can get them from him. You can pick them off. So
I kept waiting for them to take off on South Florida, and it just never happened, man. I watched that whole game, the South Florida game.
Yeah,
I watched more of that game than I did LSU game.
Yeah, I watched a bit of that game.
Yeah, it turned out to be pretty good. Let's see. In your opinion, Coach, who's the best team in the country? I know it's early. We don't have a big sample size, but who you think right now is the best team in the country?
Shoot. I don't want to. I can't really say Oregon because I hadn't seen them really tested yet. I'd probably have to say Ohio State, honestly.
Really?
Penn State's.
They haven't been tested either.
Yeah, they hadn't been tested either. They're getting ready to play here pretty quick, I think. Ohio State and Penn State.
That game's coming up here in a few weeks.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is not this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, I want to see. Like, I still need to see some of these other teams. I say Ohio State because I know they've already
defense.
played Texas. Yeah, they've already played Texas, and Texas I still think is pretty good. I just think they're just stumbling right now. I think they'll come out of it. I believe they'll be okay.
Was Arch Manning, is he overrated, or is just the media just overpumped him because of his name? And he's still the
overpumped. People are talking about how he's not any good and all that. That's a bunch of crap. Arch Manning is good, and I tell you what, it will start to surface. You're going to start seeing Arch put up his numbers and stuff. I just think the pressure might be getting to him a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
But I think he's a good player. I think he'll be good. His mechanics, I think, are a little off, but those are things that can be corrected. So I mean, he should be okay. I mean, it's just a matter of getting out of the funk. Once he gets out of the funk, Texas is going to be a problem. So
that's true. I just believe that it's almost for certain at this point, though, Coach, that he should stay next year and put one more, like his uncles did.
Yeah, I think he's.
Or would you rush him to the NFL? I mean, there's no way I would right now.
I know if he went, he'd probably be the first pick. But I mean,
wow,
they're going to pick him. Look, he's not going to go in the draft and not be the first pick. I have a feeling like if he goes, they're picking him first, whether he's ready or not. If they don't think he's ready, they're going to pick him and they're going to prepare him. Basically, they're going to bring him in as and I know that's kind of sacrilegious in today's NFL to bring somebody in and develop them, especially with the number one pick. But when you've got the attributes he has, and he's got a good head on his shoulders too, that's probably where he separates himself from Nico. I mean, Nico's just as talented, if not more talented, but they're looking at him right now. If you're an NFL scout, you're looking at Nico and you're thinking he's soft. I mean, there's just no way around that right now. So, but they believe he's got a good head on his shoulders, and they probably believe they can develop him into a franchise quarterback. And he has the tools, so I can't argue with that. But it's just a matter of where your team is, and if you want to do that. Like I personally want to bring somebody in ready to play, but it's a crapshoot, drafting quarterbacks. I mean, any way you slice it. So
yeah, you didn't say anything about LSU and Nussmeier. Do you think that? I guess that Clemson win didn't look that good, and then Florida's kind of down, but they look pretty sharp. If you ask me, they fixed their defense, man.
Yeah, LSU's doing better. Nussmeier, he's a good player too. I'm not sure where they're going to run out of gas. I have to look at their schedule. See
it's pretty daunting. I mean, LSU still got to play.
I'm sure they got to play Alabama.
Yeah, and Alabama's decent. They're not terrible, but
they may have to play Oklahoma, who honestly I'm big on right now.
Really?
I'm more worried.
That's another guy I thought was going to be fired, but their quarterback seems good.
I'm more worried about Oklahoma than I am Alabama, if I'm being honest, because I tell you, Mateer scares me. I think he is
that quarterback.
He definitely worked out. That worked out for them big time. He's a good player. He is a really good player.
Yeah, I forgot Venables. Yeah, saved him. I mean, they've been losing 5 and 6 games. Yeah, going back to LSU. Yeah, they got to play Ole Miss. Not sure about Ole Miss, but South Carolina, Vanderbilt. What do you think about? Is this the best Vanderbilt team? I mean, this is pretty close to those James Franklin teams, if not better.
Still yet to be seen. Let's see what they do moving forward. It's kind of hard to compare because, Franklin he won at Vanderbilt, and he kind of timing was everything as well. He kind of won those 9 games at a time when Georgia was down, Florida was down. Tennessee wasn't great. I mean, he kind of ran in at the perfect time where those teams right now might win 6 games, you know, and if Clark Lee can get to 6 or 7 games, then he may be that might be better than what Franklin did. He just did it in a tougher era. That's why he wasn't able to win as many games. But you know, to beat South Carolina the way they did at South Carolina, I mean that was pretty impressive. So
I never seen them run the ball like that, man.
yeah. I
mean,
can't really comment on it because I didn't really watch the game, but
they ran it all over them.
I assumed Pavia was throwing it all over the yard, but no, I guess they were running it.
Yeah. Do you think Dabo? Do you think he'll leave Clemson, man? Dabo Swinney?
At first, I thought Alabama might go after him after Saban left.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, he's building his own thing. And then now I'm kind of like, they're falling off a little bit in Clemson, and I think DeBoer is he's looked good the last couple weeks, but let them lose another game, another 2 games, then I mean they could, like, with it being Dabo's alma mater, I would think that he might have opportunity there, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
His buyouts like $60 million. I mean, it drops to like 4 next year, Coach.
Right. So, otherwise, I would guess he would just stay there. I don't think it'd be smart to go anywhere else unless he's going to maybe Alabama.
Okay. No shot for him maybe trying out the NFL if it's a Justin Herbert situation like Jim Harbaugh took, where he likes the quarterback and, you know.
I don't know if he would be a NFL candidate, honestly. I mean, I would say that he could do it. I don't know, but I know it's different. I know Harbaugh got his opportunity because he had already been in the NFL. They knew he was a good NFL coach, but you know, he might be able to do it, and I mean they could give him an opportunity. I don't know. And I'm not sure how he would take that. You know, that's different. You know, it's different dynamics, college kids and pro players. You know, I think he kind of enjoys the college atmosphere, but hey, you never know, man. I mean,
because it's getting like the pro atmosphere now. You know.
Yeah.
They're 10th in NIL. I looked them up. They're not like super cheap anywhere. So. Yeah, and they started doing the transfer thing. I don't know. I picked them to win the national championship. I feel like an idiot picking Clemson like that.
Yeah,
something told me to pick LSU, but you know,
I didn't really pick anybody. But
it doesn't feel like there's a dominant team, does it?
Yeah, it don't. I don't think LSU is going to win it. If I had to pick right now, I'd probably go with Ohio State again. Honestly.
Going back to back, huh?
Yeah, they to me seem to have done the best job with the NIL because their defense looks unbelievable after losing half their defense to them.
Yeah, they only had 3 starters back.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, they just completely reloaded, and then they're still amazing on offense. That quarterback Sang comes in and he's just dicing it up. Jeremiah Smith's still the beast that he was.
He is, man. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, they're going to be hard to beat. And then if they get hot like they did in the playoffs, I just don't see anybody beat them.
And they got a pretty easy. I think they play Illinois, and Illinois is no joke.
They got Indiana this Saturday. There's 2 unbeatens right there.
Yeah.
They play Saturday night. That should be I'm watching that one because I want to see what they both have.
Yeah, the Penn State game is going to be massive. I'm sure game day will be there. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure, no doubt.
Yeah, but ask you a little pro question here. What's your thoughts on Cam Ward and the Titans so far, man?
They suck. First of all, it's hard being a Titans fan, man. It is so freaking hard. I watch them every week. I see glimpses of a really good player out of Cam Ward, and I feel like he's playing on a team that doesn't quite measure up to his abilities. And that's big for me to say because I wasn't for drafting Cam Ward.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
I wasn't for drafting him. Now I'm 100% behind him because they did draft him, but I see some skill there. I still can't say he's going to be a good NFL quarterback yet because I haven't seen enough, but I do see some attributes there, and I like some of them. I think he's accurate. He needs to maybe dial back on some throws. He throws them with some heat, but at the same time he's got people running at him so fast. He's kind of got to in a way because he got to get it out of there. So I'm not totally mad at him and don't blame him for that completely because part of it's his protection. He has to get the ball out of there with some heat, or he's going to get sacked or whatever. But the team overall, it sucks about we can't keep our linemen healthy. We need Latham in there. Now I just heard today that the right guard is hurt too. So
that's
backup right guard. So the whole right side of the line. It's hard for me.
Well, they'll be underdogs against the Colts next weekend.
Yeah, it's hard for me to imagine the line being worse than it was last week. And they're going in with even a less experienced player at right guard too. So, you got two backups now. So now how is it going to look? I mean, it's just, man, I hate it.
The depth is just not there, is it, Coach?
It's not. They've got a decent starting line as far as their starters go.
Yes.
It's still not, top of the NFL, but maybe somewhere in the middle, which, is okay. But if one of them gets hurt, then, the line as a whole goes all the way to the bottom. I mean, it's horrible.
You can tell the Latham's injury. But here's my thing. I made this rant yesterday that this is year 2 for Callahan as a coach. Yeah. And that's when you really kind of get a gist of what the coaching staff is like, of what, the team takes on, the personality of the coach. They lead. I got destroyed. I got just totally distraught with them in the first drive of the Rams game. Illegal man downfield, coach. And then they make a pass there. Get 5-yard play to Tyler Lockett or whatever, and then they get a false start. This is in Nashville. This ain't in L.A.
It just keeps happening. And I'm just sitting here like, come on, man.
I know it's hard to watch. So I pretty much I glanced back and forth at the game, but I looked it up. They lead the whole NFL in penalties, man. And I'm just not sure about Callahan. I don't know.
And the talk has already started. It's going to happen. He's not going to be here. I can tell you that with confidence right now. It ain't that I want to get rid of him. I just understand how this works. I've seen this happen time and time again. Yep. They're already talking about it. It's everybody that calls in on the radio, and I like to say that those things don't.
And I don't even hardly listen to local radio. Except what you're hearing.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, and I don't like to say that those things affect it, but it seems like every time those things happen, and it's a continuous thing, unless they just turn around and start winning.
Yes,
probably
winning will cure.
Yeah, he's probably gone. I don't even think if he starts improving. I think they're just going to be like, no, he's got to go. But I don't know. And you know how Amy is. She'll get she gets this thing where she just wants to fire you. She'll let you go whenever. So I don't know. It's wild.
A friend of mine works for Cumulus, and I've been trying to buck to get a job. If I get on the air there, I'll probably get kicked off pretty quickly because I'm going to tell I'm not going to be one of these PR guys like a lot of them guys are. I'm going to tell them straight up, hey, look, the guy, Amy, if you want to do it big, I drive Uber around town. I'm getting all these tourists asking me, what's wrong with that stadium out there? Why are you building a dome? Now, explain to them, Tennessee wants to get a Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. But if you want to do it big, and you got a guy like Cam Ward who looks by the way, he did have one positive note. I did like that back shoulder pass that he threw.
Yeah.
In the middle of that game. I forgot who it was. I think it was, it might have been to that Ellie Alomar, whatever his name is.
Yeah. He's emerging. He might have been a diamond in the rough.
The 4th round pick from Stanford, but go out in here and get Mike McCarthy to run your offense, and Rex Ryan lives in Nashville. He
Right.
would love to go run that defense.
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
sure.
what did you think about Puka Nakua on a 4th and short running end around, Coach, for 45-yard touchdown?
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. I thought their defense was looking okay for a minute there, and then all of a sudden here he comes, and I'm like, what in the world? It's just, my buddy said today we were talking, and he said I hope because there's rumors going on in Pittsburgh that they're going to fire
Tomlin?
yeah, Tomlin, whatever. He said I hope they do fire him, and he said I'll bring him in a heartbeat and this and that. I was like, yeah, me too. I was like, I love that
Over
guy.
Callahan?
Yes. I mean, keep him here for 10, 15 years. Tomlin, he's nothing if he's not consistent. So, I mean, he has, he's competitive every year. You can't take that away. So,
Yeah.
but, I mean, that's probably far reach. That probably
No, he's going to reach. I had an inside, not really an inside, but a guy that I've had on from work radio up there outside of Pittsburgh. He says Tomlin, he said he's going to sign a 3-year deal, which he did, and one of them's already done. And he said when that deal is over with, he's going to retire.
He should.
He'll get 20 years in, and then he'll retire, which he needs to. I think he does like the movie Office Space says, Bob, I do just enough not to get fired.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Remember that movie Office Space was hilarious.
Oh, I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Well, it is hilarious. It's crazy how many people haven't seen it, and you realize how old you're getting. It's like
I know. I tell some of my friends in their 30s, man, they don't know about them Office Space.
A lot of people I work with around that age, they have no idea what I'm talking about. I said, "Oh, you need to watch."
Yeah, just enough not to get fired, but I just think that it's unfortunate. I do want them to have an offensive-minded head coach.
Yeah,
I don't want a defensive guy that's going to mess around with Cam's development. I do like the fact that his dad goes to the game. He lives and dies with it. That tells you that this guy's serious about football. He's got a good foundation. He's got leadership skills. They just need a coach in there you can't have a rookie quarterback leading your team and lead the NFL penalties, Coach.
You can't
expect to be successful.
Exactly, and those things you're talking about is what kind of brought me on to Ward is his attitude, his work ethic. He's a good leader. That doesn't guarantee he's going to be able to get it done on the field, but I've seen the things he can do, and I believe if he has a little bit of help, then I believe he can be a good quarterback. But he's going to have to get. I mean, the team. I feel so bad for him. I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook after that first game. I said if I was Cam Ward, I'd enter the transfer portal right now.
Yeah, I did. I liked it.
Yeah, but I felt bad for him because I felt like he was kind of playing a level up from what he had around him, and I was just like, you can't.
They gave that game away.
Yeah, you can't.
Denver tried to give it to him 2 or 3 times, man.
Oh, and then that catch when the dude's elbow hit, I'm sitting there thinking that's a catch. You got to challenge that, and I'm sitting there thinking, freaking Sean Payton would have challenged it. He would have challenged it.
Callahan said he didn't know the rule.
Yeah, I'm surprised Sean Payton didn't throw a flag on that play and say
he kept winning them, didn't he?
He was challenging every damn thing. But I mean, I'm just sitting there like, there's just some things. It's just like you expect the coach to know. I mean, it's just even bigger than that to me was how they closed out the first half. I'm sitting there like, run the ball 3 times and go into the half with the lead. What are you doing? And man.
It's and they threw the ball and gave a short field. You're going back to I thought the same thing, man.
Man, that's just wild. I
think he's over. He's second guessing himself, Callahan. He's overthinking the room. And I said last week, going back to Denver's game, that at the beginning of the game he was so nervous about Cam Ward that he went in with the Jeff Fisher type of game plan, up the middle. Tony Pollard instead of Eddie George, And then he said, you know what? At the end of the half, let's just throw it out. Then he went too far the other way.
Yeah, I know. It's
You
just
know,
wild. He's like, let's get a field goal. Let's see if we can get in field goal. I'm like, come on, man. I didn't mind him trying to run the ball to protect Cam Ward, to try to take pressure off of him. But it got to the point to where they couldn't run it at all. They were getting
up the middle.
I'm just sitting here like, yeah, you're going to have to do something.
Was that Jeff Fisher flashbacks, man? When you're seeing those 1 yard runs, 0 yard, like don't run it again on second.
Man, it's just wild. I'm just sitting here like, try a play action on first down, something.
Do something on first down.
It's just, yeah, it's like I said, it's frustrating being a Titans fan. And I'm nervous about them firing Callahan because I'm like, who are they going to get?
What if they get a clown in there? They don't get McCarthy.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Then they'll hire a coordinator from somewhere.
Yeah.
That, we don't know if he's going to be a good head coach or not. I'm thinking, man, we need an established head coach, somebody who
Mike
has
McCarthy,
and who has one. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, are they going to get him? Are they going to pursue him? Would he take it? It's just.
Yeah. If I had one of these radio jobs, I'd be saying, hey, Amy, pay the money. Half the city is funding half of that dome you've got coming up there.
Yeah, right.
Go out here and get a real established head coach. Cam Ward is starting to get good reputation around the league. I'm hearing a lot of national media pump him up because his leadership. Reports are coming out. That comes down to the ears of head coaches and talented coaches there,
Yeah, I'm more excited about the dome than I am the team. I mean, let's just be honest.
Right, I've got it to the point where, me too, where maybe we will get a Super Bowl Final Four here, and the team will be mediocre forever and never win a Super Bowl.
It feels like it. I mean, I hope not, but it feels
like I was talking about the balls earlier. 5-6 years ago, Coach, I thought I had this bad, dark feelings about Tennessee. I was like, I'll watch them, but I know they're going to get the crap beat out of them every big game they play in.
I was at. I'm not, like I said, I'm having no more expectations. I knew it would eventually turn around because college is a little different than the NFL, but I was like, I don't know when it's going to be. And then, like I said, when Hype will come in, I was just like, let's see what he does. And, and then I figured out pretty quick that Heupel, it was a good chance Heupel was going to be that guy that was going to bring things back. So,
Well, year 2 was big. Yeah.
Yes. I think, I really like their chances of getting into the playoffs this year again.
Man.
They just can't
lose. That's a pretty bold statement, but you never know, man.
Well, you can't lose more than one more game. I said, they basically got a split between Alabama and Oklahoma and not lose one that you're not supposed to lose.
And Oklahoma's here in Knoxville. It's in Tennessee, isn't it?
What's that?
Because they played at Oklahoma last year.
Yeah, they play Oklahoma here, so that's home.
Good. Well, but they got to play at Alabama and at Florida, and I think Florida, I don't know, man.
They should smoke Florida. Hopefully, Aguilar isn't like Florida shouldn't be in his head like Florida's been in other players' head. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Florida shouldn't be in his head like that. So
yeah, that'll be in November. It'll be towards the end of the season.
Yeah. We should be healthy by then, which means, in my opinion, if we got both our corners, I mean, we're going to have some extra opportunities. I mean, they're going to pick some passes off. I mean, they are. You get a little pressure because our pressure is actually pretty good. They're getting pretty good pressure, and they'll probably get pressure on Lagway, and he'll make some mistakes. And and the way our offense is clicking, we can run the ball. I mean, we got 3 guys who can run the ball. So I mean, I like our chances. It's coming down to that Oklahoma, Alabama. Win one of those. Win both
in Oklahoma, not Arizona.
Both of them, and don't drop one they're not supposed to win. They probably wind up in the SEC championship, which, if I'm being honest, I don't really care about that. I almost would rather them go 11-2 and just get into the playoffs. But You know what I
Take
mean?
a chance on losing to LSU or Texas. Anything else you need to plug, man? Anything else on your mind, sports friend?
I'm good for now.
All right, there. Hey, buddy, I appreciate you coming on. I'll clip. I'm sure we got some good stuff here. I think your comments about Callahan were pretty spot on.
Yeah, right. Hey, anytime, man. Hey, anytime you need somebody, just give me a holler.
Especially with Tennessee has another big win, another big game. I just thought it was real impressed the way you almost nailed that game. That field goal goes in, I mean, that is Coach Carroll all the way, brother.
I never felt so unconfident about a kick in my entire life. I was just sitting there like, he's not going to hit this kick. And
the guys at work were telling me the same thing. Yeah. Because they saw that look in his eyes. Like, and like, that might as well have been an 80-yard field goal, man.
Right. And I'm like, we're probably not beating them in overtime. I just had that gut feeling, it's just like.
Same here.
When you watch enough football, you just know. You know when you know. You know what I mean? It's just.
Right. Yeah, appreciate you, buddy. Have a good night, man.
Have a good one.
Tomorrow, I'll be back here with the Mad New Yorker, and we'll be talking about the 5 biggest games coming up in the NFL this week. And we got some good ones. Have a good night, everybody.